as a clinical psychologist, I'm often asked, how do you listen to people's problems day in and day out? How do you stand it, people's pain? Don't you get burnt out? And truth be told, when I was new as a therapist and so young and full of pompous zeal that I could go in and fix people's lives, yes, I used to get overwhelmed and so overburdened. It seemed as if their pain on top of mine was simply too hard to metabolize. But that wasn't really because of the therapeutic environment, and it certainly wasn't because my clients were dumping their pain on me. It was because my own relationship to pain was skewed. You see, back then, in my naivety, I used to view pain and problems as an intrinsic failure of the self, certainly of the other, and definitely of life. But now, as I've evolved just a tad and grown up, I've come to redefine my relationship with pain, begun to see its entry, its presence, and its ability to transform in an entirely different way. And it is insights from this transformed relationship to pain that I wish to share with you today. For I believe there is nothing more pivotal in the journey of conscious parenting or conscious living than the understanding, integration, and evolution of pain. For nothing hurts the parental heart more than to see our children in pain. But guess what? Nothing hurts our children more than to have a parent who is unable to witness their pain. A parent who is unable to witness the child's pain because of the parent's own unresolved issues around pain, failure, disappointment. That child who doesn't have that witness will simply be unable to integrate pain in their own life and use it as a vehicle for growth. So now, I no longer see pain as something so dark and dire and disruptive, something to be avoided at all costs. On the contrary, I see it as not only as profound, but as inevitable. And not only as just inevitable, but as intrinsic. And not only as just intrinsic, but vital. And mostly as one of the most powerful portals of consciousness we can have. You know, if you ask me what kinds of pain I've experienced as a therapist, what kinds of pain I have been witness to, as if pain could be categorized into different kinds, I will probably say I've seen mostly all of it. From the mother whose eyes scream of a despair bordering on an insanity as she whispers to me the most ungraspable of realities. And then she was gone, she whispers. I looked away for 2 minutes, and then she was gone. Speaking of her toddler who tottered into the pool, unsupervised, for just a blink of an eye, and then she was gone. Or the man who stands before me, shaking his head in disbelief as he watches his company that he invested millions of dollars in dissolve before his eyes, unable to comprehend the reality of the mountain of debt before him, unable to see how this pain can be transformational. Or the unsuspecting wife who sits on the couch as her husband turns to her and tells her, "No, I do not love you anymore, and I really need to leave." And he too, filled with pain himself, walks out of the office and out of her life, leaving her mouth agape in disbelief, the torrential dismay, anxiety, fear, and betrayal. And the teenager who bawls and she tells me, "My best friend told me I was fat and stupid." It's always the best friend. And she looks at me imploringly, wondering if I could give her some intelligence and beauty by the next school day. Abandonment, suffering, loneliness, fear, death, betrayal, pain. The pain of suffering, it's too much to bear. It's almost as if our psychological anatomies simply are not designed to contain the pain that life hurtles at us. Pain leaves a stain. Pain must be painted over, for it cracks our sense of self almost, leaving it in a million shards, not shards that you can just leave on the roadside, if only we were so lucky. No, but the shards, they prick our footsteps every walking minute, bleeding, reminding us that we are broken, broken, broken. Life wasn't supposed to be this way. This is what They told us as children that life was this fairy tale. Now, most of us sitting here today will say, no, we love life as is. We think life is beautiful as is. But I ask you, do you really mean that? Because I believe in the shadow of your love for life lies a conditionality, lies a transactional element that we make a transaction with life, a contract, that if life makes us feel beautiful and valued and splendorous and wonderful and strong, valorous, then we will love life. Then we will be able to go outside and look at the sun and admire the sky. But when life breaks its contract with us, the contract that only we set up with it, and instead reflects back to us our weakness, our limitations, our fragility, it's almost then as if we withdraw, recoil, and divorce life itself.